Chapter 13. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. The soul of the sluggard desireth, and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and cometh to shame. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but wickedness overthroweth the sinner. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. The ransom of a man's life are his riches, but the poor heareth not rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoiceth, but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Only by pride cometh contention, and with the well-advised is wisdom. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed, but he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. Good understanding giveth favor, but the way of transgressors is hard. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. A wicked messenger falleth into mischief, but a faithful ambassador is health. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction, but he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is abomination to fools to depart from evil. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. Much food is in the tillage of the poor, but there is that is destroyed for want of judgment. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. The righteous eateth to the satisfying of his soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want. Here in chapter 13, verse 1, a wise son heareth his father's instruction. That doesn't say listen to, it says heareth. And the word here means takes into his heart his father's instruction, values it, treasures it. But a scorner, somebody who basically says, well, what could my father know? Heareth not rebuke, will not accept correction, will not accept advice, will not accept counsel. The only thing that scorner ever takes is his own advice. He is great in his own sight, which usually doesn't get him very far. Verse 3, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, and he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. These again are allusions, Hebrew ones. He that keepeth his mouth basically means he that considers the kinds of things he says. Keepeth his life. In other words, he has his privacy, he has his wisdom, he is thought well of, all the benefits of seeming wise because you don't spout off by somebody who has openeth wide his lips. That connotation of that means somebody who gives advice to everybody on everything, whether he knows anything or not. Doesn't care what the facts are, knows what he thinks. Those people shall have destruction. The soul of the sluggard, verse 4, desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. Fat means, in this case, wellness. The fat of the animals was always the part that was most highly valued, especially in a desert country, because fat is hard to come by. Fat is not stored by animals unless they have more food than is necessary for their immediate survival, and that is not something that is very common in desert countries because there's not a whole lot of food for the animals. They usually have to work at finding just enough to get by for the day. And so having fat was something that was rare. Being able to eat it was something that was even rarer. Now, verse 6, righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way, but wickedness overthroweth the sinner. If you are righteous, that means you're also upright. It keepeth you in the way. In other words, it helps you go from wherever you are, and we're not talking just in a physical journey from one town to another town or city to the farm or whatever, on your path of life. It helps you. Righteousness helps you make it with fewer troubles, fewer hassles, fewer problems usually, than if you are wicked, in which case you tend to wander all over the place looking for some advantage over somebody else, wind up not getting to wherever it is you want because you spend all your time wandering around looking for some way to get there easier and faster. Now, only by pride, verse 10, cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Pride usually runs up against people who don't like pride. And that usually causes contention because people look at the proud person and say, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. And they contend to try to get you to back down and be more humble. And that usually doesn't work with a proud person because a proud person protests that they are smart. They know exactly what they're talking about and the other person is wrong. With the well-advised is wisdom. If somebody says something to you and you are well advised and you are wise, you can understand how you can take advantage of it, how you can benefit from it. And that's what one of the things that wisdom does. Verse 12, hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. Here's a law to the Hebrew people. If you owe somebody something, pay it the day that the bargain is made. Don't hold on to it just for the sake of doing it. If the person has fulfilled their end of it, you pay them now. You don't make them wait overnight. You don't make them wait at all in any way, shape, or form for any reason. You pay them now. Because if you don't, you are wrong with God. Their heart is sick. They've done their part and you have not. When the desire cometh, when these people get what they want, what they've completed their agreement for, it is a tree of life. A tree of life would be like an olive tree for them. It has fruit on it that sustains them. They may not, an olive tree may have hundreds of pounds of olives on it. And you can harvest enough in a day to last you for many, 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 many days. And people remember that you were honorable with them. And that's what this is all about. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. Every prudent man deals with every piece of information that comes across, and he deals honorably with it. But a fool layeth open, he puts it all out, and he gives everybody his opinion on it. And most people aren't interested in what he thinks. Most people are more interested in what he's going to do. The desire accomplished is sweet for the soul, but it is abomination to fools to depart from evil. The fools do not want to leave evil behind. They're sure that they can find a way to get around being righteous and can get things behind other people's back by forcing the situation, whatever, and they can't do it. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul. If you can do the work, do the work. You'll be so proud you did. You'll be so glad you did. It says in 23, much food is in the tillage of the poor, but there is that is destroyed for want of judgment. In other words, there might be much food there, but if you're not careful with it, you'll lose it all.